Hey, I'm Lewis, and today I'm going to show you how to get leads and sales on Facebook ads for B2B. These are the same strategies that we use for our clients when we're managing multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads and getting leads and sales for these businesses. We even use these strategies for our own software company to get B2B leads and sales. So I'm going to go through that in this video. I'm going to show you audiences to use, strategies to employ, and give you some actionable advice to walk away with. But before I do that, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. It really helps me out a lot. And let's jump into my screen in 3, 2, 1. So jumping right into it, when you're targeting on Facebook ads for B2B, you have to take quite a different approach in how you go about getting these leads and sales. So I'm sure everyone knows about what a funnel is and how you have the different stages: awareness, consideration, conversion, ACC, and that does come into play quite a bit into the strategies I'm going to talk about. But the second part is actually the targeting itself, because that is something that a lot of people struggle with on Facebook ads. This is a human head. There we go. Sure. Let's put a little shirt on them. There we go. So that's a human. Is getting the targeting down right. It's a two-part system where you have to first make sure you have the targeting, or first make sure you have the funnel. It doesn't matter which order, but they need to be together. You need to be putting the right people through the right stages of the funnel and then moving them along based on what kind of actions they've taken or what kind of content they have digested. So that's the first part to consider. So the first thing to get straight is that people think you can't actually target very well on Facebook ads for B2B. They think it's more of a B2C platform and you always have to stick to LinkedIn ads if you have a B2B company. I'm going to tell you right now, that's not true. I've managed multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. I've managed easily into the 7 figures on ad spend, and I've done it for B2B, B2C, and everything in between. You definitely can target people on Facebook ads. We're currently doing it if you have the right audience and the right funnel to put them through, and you're obviously doing like good creatives and whatnot. You don't just have to use LinkedIn ads. So there is a drawback. Facebook ads traffic typically does tend to be lower quality overall when you're comparing it to something like Google search or LinkedIn ads, where the job title targeting is much better. But here's the upside. Facebook ads traffic actually is significantly cheaper than LinkedIn ads traffic, because LinkedIn ads is very expensive, specifically because their job title targeting is so damn good and so detailed in that they are charging a premium for that, and a lot of other B2B companies are paying a premium to reach these audiences. So if you wanted to expand outside of LinkedIn, Facebook is a great place to go. Now that that's out of the way, let's jump over in Facebook ads so I can walk you through some strategies of getting these highly specific B2B audiences. So I'm going to walk you through some strategies and examples now, but I have a link in the description where I actually walk you through Facebook sequential retargeting ads. And these are highly effective for B2B and high ticket offers. So I highly recommend checking out that video after this one. So before I actually jump into the tactics, make sure you have your Facebook pixel installed. This is super straightforward and simple. If you don't know how to do this, I have another video on it. Check the link in the description, but I'm not going to harp on that too much. Basically, it allows you to track your conversions and optimize. So the second part is actually the audiences themselves. That's probably what you came here for, but go ahead and click on business tools, and over here on the right you have audiences. Go ahead and click on audiences to go to the audience manager. Great, so there's about 2 main categories of audiences you're going to create for B2B, and the rest is really on a creative level or a funnel level. And these 2 audiences are custom audiences and lookalike audiences. And if you don't know how to create these audiences, check my links in the description. I have another video on that as well. But jumping forward, go ahead and click create custom audience. And the main sources we're gonna use are actually website and customer lists. So these are gonna be our first custom audiences. Now, in order to do this, you need to have either website traffic, a list of emails, or a list of customers. So a lot of B2B people don't actually have this if they're just starting out, or maybe they haven't collected that much data in the past and are just starting to collect, but you at least have website traffic to start with. So go ahead and click on website. So the first audience to build is pretty straightforward and obvious, but it's gonna be anyone that's visited your website. Now, if you don't have a lot of traffic, this is a great place to start, because if you start doing the next 2 audiences I'm going to suggest, you're not going to have enough people to target, or your frequency is going to go super high. So the first thing is try to target people who have visited your website in the past 180 days. So you can call these website visitors if you want. There's 180 days. and go ahead and add that audience. This is anyone who's hit your landing pages, anyone who's hit your home pages, went to the contact form, whatever it is, they're all going to be in this blanket audience that you can retarget them further down the funnel depending on what pages they've actually hit. So this is a great first one to start off with, but I'm going to skip to the second one right now. So the second audience we like to use a lot, this works well if you have a decent size of website traffic, is retargeting people who have visited higher intent pages, as we like to call them. So this isn't everyone that's visited your website, and again, I've mentioned this kind of strategy in another video, but really quick for B2B, this could be anyone that's visited your pricing page, anyone's visited the book a demo page, maybe looked at some of your case studies, or maybe checked out your testimonials. You know, if they're browsing around these pages, maybe they're on the fence or they're actually curious about working with you, which is why we want to retarget them exactly. But you also want to make sure you're not retargeting existing customers or people who are already in the demo or pipeline stage, whatever it is, because they're probably getting a second series of ads. So we want to exclude anyone who's seen the thank you page or maybe has hit the call booked page, right? So anyone that's on the fence but hasn't converted yet is this audience. And this works really well when people are past the awareness stage. So they've already hit your first ad, gone to your site. Now the second ad, I'm going to talk about the funnel in a second. The second ad can actually be more pushing them towards the consideration stage. So they've already gone through here and now they're here where you can try to push them to an actual purchase or a book demo, whatever it is. And I'll explain how we do that in a second. So I'm actually going to include a third one really quick, a quick bonus one. This is for anyone running lead forms on Facebook. So that's an arrow. So if you're running lead forms on Facebook, you can go ahead and target people who have opened the form. So this isn't just people who have submitted the form, but people who are considering submitting their information, which is going to be a much wider net that you can further retarget down the funnel into the actual purchase stage. And how this works is you just select your page and you go ahead and select the specific forms right here that you want to retarget. If you want to do a big blanket one, you can actually just select all your forms to retarget anyone who's opened any form. But this only applies to people who are running lead forms on Facebook. So those are just some custom audiences you can use, but I'm actually going to show you the fourth audience, which is probably the most powerful one you can use here today. And before I do that, if you want to know the best Facebook ads examples to learn from, we actually have a free cheat sheet. It's in the description of this video, so go ahead and click that, absolutely free to download, and that'll give you a lot of guidance from other companies who are B2B or even B2C to see what kind of ads they're running to get inspiration for your ads. But this fourth audience is actually going to be a lookalike audience. So how the lookalike audience works, I'm going to give you a super short summary, but basically you upload a list, an Excel file, CSV, whatever it is, of emails of people who have contacted you, who have purchased from you, whatever it is, people who have actually given your email. You give it to Facebook, they anonymize the data, then they look at all the data points of the emails because they basically match those emails to Facebook user accounts because most people have a Facebook account, and they scan through that and they say, okay, we see these 97 data points they all have in common. Let's go find more people who look just like them. And then it gives you access to millions of more people you can advertise to that are similar to your already existing customers. It's super powerful, and all you have to do is upload a spreadsheet file. This is actually Facebook's probably their biggest advantage when it comes to targeting on B2B. And I would highly recommend this as the fourth audience by uploading your customer list to Facebook and allowing them to find more people who already are like your existing customers. All you have to do is click on create new source and you can upload a CSV of a custom audience or custom audience with LTV. Basically all that means is you just put a dollar amount per email when you upload this list. Like this customer paid me $10,000 of a lifetime. This one paid me $50,000 a lifetime. Facebook's going to look at the ones that have paid you more and give their profiles and data points more weight than the ones that have paid you less when it's trying to scan and trying to find more people who are like that list. So the next part is obviously the audience size. You can create various sizes and ranges. The further you go up, the less likely they're going to be similar to your original audience. But we have seen audiences work 8 and 9% nowadays. Before, back in the day, I would stay away from these high percentages. But Facebook's lookalike targeting algorithm has gotten really good, especially if you feed it more data. So if you give it 5,000 customers instead of 1,000 customers, you're going to get a much higher quality lookalike audience. It really does matter and impact it. But just starting out, I would say 0 to 1% is a good range to start out. Not 0, but basically up to 1% is a good range to start out when you're building that customer list of people who have purchased from you in the past. And if you don't have people who have purchased from you in the past, I have a secret number 5. If you only have just a list of emails, right? Upload that then. If you have people who have joined your email list for a lead magnet or whatever it was, go ahead and use that as a data source in the CSV, skip the lifetime value because you won't have it, and then make a lookalike audience of those people. Basically, you're trying to get the highest quality data source you can find, which is obviously customers, so that you can get the highest quality lookalike audience you can target, and then you just start making bank. So let's take a little breather really quick, because I'm gonna show you some actual targeting options aside from the audience building itself inside Facebook Ads detailed targeting platform. But back to the funnel. So you have the awareness stage where people have never heard of you, don't know your solution exists, don't know your problem, or they don't know who you are, right? And you have the consideration and conversion stages. So what we're trying to do is we're actually trying to build up this net and cast as wide as net as possible at the awareness stage to get as many people to know about you and be in your ecosystem as possible. Because a lot of the Facebook B2B retargeting revolves around, well, I just gave it away, retargeting, moving people from this stage to the next stage, to the next stage to make a purchase, right? That's what the difference is with this platform. It's not like Google where someone's just searching for your solution or searching for automation software and then you're an ad for that, right? This is someone who's completely cold, looking at family photos, and you need to basically catch their attention, make them aware of your solution, so now you have an audience of people that is growing bigger, of people you can retarget. These are little people, by the way, that you can then show to the next ad, which is the consideration stage. And then once you got enough people from that stage that have seen both ads, you can then move them to the actual conversion stage, which is more of a hard sell. This kind of sequential retargeting works really well on Facebook if you're going after B2B sales. B2C, you can just put someone at the very top and show them like a buy my socks ad, and they'll buy it. Like, you know, if it's a cheap product, you can just put it at the top. But B2B is usually higher ticket, more questions need to be asked. You have to have demo calls, sales calls, and that's why it requires this warming up technique. And if you want to know more about this, like I mentioned, I have a video completely on sequential retargeting, and I give you a lot of ideas of how to do this in the funnel level. So that will be in the description. Feel free to check that out. All right, you know what? You're saying, Lewis, I don't have a list of 1,000 customers. I don't have a bunch of website visitors. I don't have even a list of 1,000 people who've opted into my lead magnet. Okay, fine, fair enough. Some people are still starting out or haven't really collected this information. So this is where interest-based targeting comes into play. Now, interest targeting is some of the most expensive targeting, but if you don't have these assets to play off of, you kind of have to play ball with Facebook and pay these higher costs per clicks initially. So what you're gonna do is go ahead and create a new campaign. I'm just gonna go ahead and just put a bunch of gibberish here. So when it comes to targeting based on interest or demographics, you're gonna have a bigger mismatch than if you're just doing lookalike audiences built off your customers, obviously, but this will give you somewhere to start. So what I like to do is I actually like to look for business page admins on Facebook, because this narrows it down more than just Facebook page admins. Facebook page admins could be someone who has a Facebook profile page for their music project or some kind of, like, I don't know, cause or organization, but business page admins are more likely to be business owners. So what I like to do is target that and then narrow it down even further underneath the narrow audience button here. So let's say you have an advertising software like ours. You can go ahead and type in online advertising to see if you can go after people who likely have a business but are also interested in paid ads or advertising. So try to get that audience up to about 1 million if you can, minimum, of who you're actually going. You want to cast a wide net first, refine later. So this is one type of interest targeting we like to use if we don't have any kind of assets at all. But you can also do US top household income earners. So you go after the top 5 or 10% earners. These are people more likely to be CEOs, more likely to have their own business, right? So you go after top 10%, top 5% if you want, and then narrow it down from there. That's another one you can do. The next one is pretty obvious, and again, I'm kind of lumping all these targeting options into one audience because it's really the same thing. You're just changing out the different keywords you're using. But business owner, the reason why I kind of stay away from this a little bit, especially like job title business owner or CEO, things like that, is because a lot of people on Facebook just put that in their title. They just put like business owner at someone, or business owner, CEO at Making Bank. They just put these titles, and then Facebook's like, oh, I guess they're a business owner. Let's advertise to them. So I try to stay away from that. I try to base it more on things that they can't really fake or just make ambiguous, like business page admin or page admins. They actually have to make a page in order to be in this audience. Now, what you're going to be doing, and again, interest-based targeting is going to be the most expensive, so brace yourself of the 3 ones I mentioned. But what you want to do is try to graduate away from interest-based targeting as much as possible to move towards lookalike and then layer it with interest-based targeting. So if I had a lookalike audience, I can actually use them here in my saved audiences or my custom audiences and then layer it with, say, anyone in this 1 million list of people or 2 million list of people, show it to them in this specific age range or gender you're going after, but they must also like specific subjects. They must also be interested in online advertising and whatnot. And what it does is it takes this big wide net when you're doing just basic interest-based targeting, it refines it a bit. So it's like, hey, all these people that Facebook thinks might be a good fit, layer on just an extra part of targeting just to kind of ensure that they are a good fit. I think that one works really well. Well, we've used it quite a bit actually. So that's another one you can do. But again, I'm trying to stay away from that. This one's more of if you don't have any kind of assets to use. This is such a creepy drawing. Thank you for watching. I hope you got some value out of this video. I can't take it. It's bothering me. If you got any value, please check the links in the description. And if you want any kind of comments or you want to comment your industry to get some ideas of how to target people in your niche, please put them in the comments below. I will read them and get back to them whenever I get a chance. And if you want the lead magnets I mentioned, if you want to check out the other videos, those are also in the description. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.